You're listening to the You Don't Know Me Yet podcast network.
Hey, you are tuned in to Two Gems and a Mic with hosts Tanisha the Diva Mahomes and Linda L.D. Dorsey. Just know, if we're talking about it, you need to hear about it. Unwind and enjoy. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Two Gems and a Mic. I'm your girl LD along with Tanisha the Diva Mahomes and our guest from New Orleans on Radio Road. Darren
Nolens down here.
Nolens. All right. I'm sorry, I got it wrong.
Oh, they call it. I just call it New Orleans, but you know.
Yeah. All right, Darren, tell us what's going on. How you digging it so far? I know you go every year, but
Well, as you all can probably tell, I'm on Radio Row here doing this. I got my computer stuff set up, so that's why I'm not like doing it from my hotel room or anything like that. So I'm able to leave my stuff up, because of security. Leave my stuff up.
They got top flight security.
Yeah, actually they do. You know what I'm saying? But they make sure nothing comes up missing. So yeah, I can leave it up and come in the next day, and everything is still in its proper place. So that's the beauty of it. But no, I mean it's been pretty busy throughout the day. I have not gone like from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. trying to live stream and interview everybody and their mama. I've done this so many times, and now it's like I want to take a little half step back to where I can kind of enjoy and like go to other things here, such as some press conferences. And so, like today was the first time that I've been doing this. This is my 8th year doing this. First time that I've attended the National Football League's Player Association press conference. So
I saw that on social media. How was that?
It was informative. I mean, it was my first time, so um, the player reps and the president spoke, and then the executive director spoke. Then he took questions, and I, of course, raised my hand. I was the first person to ask
Wait
the
a minute.
question.
We gonna save all the football stuff for last because I
Okay.
got some questions on that. But let's hear some stuff that's going on in the news. I know
Let's
you
do
got
it.
a lot to tell us because you're there and it's hot. But it's a couple of things. WNBA trades. They've been flying around like I'm like dodging. So I don't want to say what's the biggest trade because they're all significant. But Brittney Griner, she's played her entire career in Phoenix and she's going to Atlanta. Um, that was surprising to me. Alisa Thomas leaving Connecticut and going to Phoenix. Kelsey Plum leaving Vegas going to LA. Lloyd leaving Seattle going to Vegas. There's many more. I mean, I couldn't go through like all of them. Satou Sabally, she was a free agent, and Dallas Wings gave up a lot of players. Ty Harrison, Alisa Smith is moving. Makia Herbert Harrington. I mean, it's a lot of players. I haven't even gotten a full picture of what these rosters look like. I'm still
Right.
waiting on the dust to settle. What do you think about that, Darren?
Well, I remember when some trades started or some free agents signed that I thought Indiana, kind of upgraded their roster some.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because I remember a little celebration, I think one of the players was being introduced, and then you had Caitlin Clark at the very end, welcoming her. So I'm interested, when you say, I guess, who's the biggest trade, I would think maybe Kelsey Plum uh, being traded from Vegas to LA because you had essentially 4 All-Stars on that roster, and of course she had helped them win a couple of titles, and for her to go to LA, I mean, I think that's a big move, Vegas to LA, and but I was actually kind of shocked with some of the other trades, and then I think it was the one for Seattle, their free agent. She
Drew
helped them
Lloyd.
win. No, not her. Because her sister broke the news on ESPN, but she re-signed with
Abumake.
Seattle. Yeah, Bumake,
Abumake,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. So she was
Yes.
signed with them. I thought that was big for them, to be able to retain
To
her.
retain something, yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed.
and Brittney Griner being traded to Atlanta from Phoenix to Atlanta, I think that environment, that city, that's something that will suit her and her lifestyle. So, I think it'll be, first of all, to be honest, I'm interested to see how the chemistry is going to be with these teams with all the new pieces together. And of course, they start up, I think, what in April, right after the NCAA. So definitely want to
Yeah,
see how
April,
long it
May,
takes.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I definitely want to see how long it takes them to start gelling, and when they start practicing and trying to work together. So no, I'm excited about it and to see what these teams could do. And for those of us who follow basketball in general, and of course, with Caitlin and poor girl with the rebound. And gosh, I don't know why I'm forgetting. I got so many.
Angel
Angel
Reese,
Reese. Yeah,
yeah.
I got so many
Reese,
head. I got
Miss
some names
Reese.
just being here
Well,
on
they have a
radio.
whole
That's,
new coach there in Chicago too. I wonder what that team's going to look like. But
yeah.
Kelsey Mitchell deciding to stay
Mm-hmm.
um, in
Chicago.
in yeah Chicago. And they picked up some players, and Sophie Cunningham went there. So that team's going to look different. They were a contender this year. They'll be a contender next year. The Valkyries, the new team, what they're going to look like. So I'm looking forward to the season. It'll be exciting. I don't know if the dust is settled. That's it. There's going to be more trades. We'll see.
Probably
But
gonna be so much more. Yeah.
yeah, the blockbuster trade in the NBA. Let's switch to the NBA. And I want both of y'all to weigh in here from a perspective of between Luka and Davis. I want to talk about those two first. Um, who, if anybody, won that trade?
Well, I'm sorry, if healthy, I would say. I mean, I'd like to think Dallas just because of what Anthony Davis can do defensively, and he doesn't have to play the center position, which is something that he really kind of despises doing. Long term, I think it'll be the Lakers because you can still try to fit some pieces around him. You don't have to max him out at $325 million. You save $115 million on a max extension for Luka, and then he's also a player that's going to be in your future, or is going to be your headline player over the next 10 years. So long term, I think the Lakers fared well. Short term, I think it was if healthy, it'll be the Dallas Mavericks.
What you say, Tanisha?
I mean, to be honest with you, I think that I can't even fathom trading Luka. Like I don't understand that. Like to me that didn't make any sense. I don't give a damn who you give him because he's still a young guy. Luka's still young. And if it was conditioning, as it's been kind of rumored that sometimes he's not in the best condition, then hell, it's Luka. Hire somebody to condition him. Um,
I'm
but
sure they have somebody to do that. I thought that too, but him being how old is Luca? 20 something,
is it
26,
25.
29,
25.
25.
25?
He's
Yeah,
25 years old and he
that's
looks the way he does. To me, is saying a lot about. I mean, they keep showing that
He
video
was
of the
coming. He was reportedly coming in to camp out of shape where they want him at 230. He's coming in at 260 pounds.
well, and I understand that, but then put something in his contract. It's not. It wouldn't be the first person. Put something in his contract
But the problem with that
that
is,
make
is
him.
that
And then if you don't even want to go that route, then force him through some other way to get him in shape. But I'm not finna let Luca walk out though.
but
If you
but
if
but
you're
but but
hitting if you're
Tanisha,
hitting that at 260, what you gonna hit when you get
but
when
then
I finally
don't
get you
don't
right?
do you think the player has some accountability and should want to do it? Okay, so if the
Absolutely.
player doesn't want to do it or doesn't have the desire, why do I
When
have
you
to put in the
haven't,
contract? Why do I have to play him? Maybe if he gets around somebody like LeBron and says, this is a 40-year-old guy and he's in shape, maybe
yeah.
that'll do him for him. Maybe there was nobody there that could motivate him to do it. I always thought he looked sloppy. He looked big and sloppy to me. So
I
he can
mean,
shoot from half court, but he looked big and sloppy to me.
and,
I
and,
never
and when you're
well,
260
you ain't
pounds, you
got to
can't
be
play
cute to
defense
hit
either like
threes.
that.
and he was not playing defense because you
You
can't
don't
move.
have to be cute to hit threes.
I didn't say
Like
cute, but you
I'm
got to
just
play
saying I
defense. It's
don't
not
care if
just a
he
matter
is
of hitting.
sloppy. I'm just saying what I'm gonna work on. If it's a weight thing, then I'm gonna let him know. I'm gonna pull him to the side. They should have
You don't
did
think
to
they've said something to him?
who knows? Who knows? We don't know. Maybe they because he was
They
such a big
have.
star, They didn't hound him like they should have
Just
hounded
like
him.
they
I
said
mean,
something
you
to
can
the
go with
guy
that. Zeke Elliott used to
in New
come in and
Orleans.
it take him 4 games to get in shape. It's a lot of players in the offseason. They just don't do what they're supposed to do.
And look at Zeke.
I know.
Okay.
I mean,
Look
believe me,
look at
he can't wear the halter top no more. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't do it no more. I mean, you come in, it takes you 4 games to
Zion
get
is
in
when
shape.
he's overweight.
I know.
And you're gonna pay somebody. So they probably said, we're not gonna pay you that kind of money to come in here and looking sloppy. And I wouldn't either. He can shoot the 3, but he can't play no defense. So he's proven they can't get him to the promised land, not in the shape that he's in. So
I would probably err on bringing more around him than letting him go.
Well, shit, they brought Kyrie around him.
Like I said, I'd have brought more around him before I let him go. I would have said, meanwhile, in the back of my mind, I'm working on you coming in here looking like you love cake. You know, I'm gonna do. I got a lot of money to spend. I'm gonna figure it out.
Where
but
was
I probably would have brought some more people in before I let him go out.
Where was Brunson at before he went to the Knicks? Anybody? Okay.
The Mavericks.
He was at the Mavericks. He's doing great at the Knicks. I mean, think about it. Luka might be your problem. Common denominator, he might be your problem. Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, you know, made Luka
Well,
the problem.
also one thing.
Linda,
The
Luka the
Mavericks
problem.
did not want to pay Luka that max contract extension as well.
Unacceptable.
This is going to be the owner's new way of getting out of those type of deals to where, you trade, that player before their contract, where they can get the max extension, $300 million, trade him to another team, which will cost them 100 some. And the thing is, you only do that to a player if you feel like they're not worth the investment, because again, if you have to deal with Luka, and don't forget how he played during the NBA Finals, all the whining and complaining about the
Everything
referee,
but Luka. He wasn't accountable for nothing.
call up and down the floor, all he does is complain and cry about
Same thing
officiating.
about a lot of
And you know what I'm saying? Well,
yeah, what?
Okay, but we talking about Luka.
I'm just saying. You act like Luka crying is new. Everybody whine. They got.
Everybody don't whine.
Everybody don't. Not Tanisha, not everybody don't. And what you're doing is making a blanket excuse.
I ain't making a blanket excuse. I'm not.
What
I'm doing is not putting him out on the island when I'm looking.
We ain't put him on the island. We talking about the playoffs last year in the finals. That's all he did was whine. Through the playoffs in the finals last year, it just got real old with him whining. Play basketball and quit whining. Hence, no championship.
And the team felt like, if you're not going to change, they don't feel like they can win a championship with him again. He had all off summer to work on his game or whatever, and he ended up coming into camp 30 pounds overweight. So they don't feel like he's taking stuff. He took it seriously. That's reportedly to be fact. I mean, they know how much you weigh when you came in. Because you go into training camp, and if you're supposed to have a certain playing weight and you show up 30 pounds heavier, they're going to know that.
All right, let's move on from Luka because we can go back and forth. Kyle Kuzma, he's going to, I think Milwaukee. They're getting Middleton and one other player for him. Fox, he's going to the Spurs. Levine is going to the Kings, and then those were the big two. But this is something that's troubled me. Not so much a trade. But the Jimmy Butler and his legacy, what is going on, and what is this going to do to his legacy? Because I mean, we look at it. Okay, it didn't work in Minnesota. It didn't work in Philly. So is Jimmy the problem? Okay.
Yes, he's the common denominator. Every team that he's gone to, and every time he leaves basically with the bridge on fire, and to me, he hasn't won anything. Yes, he's led a team to a couple of conference finals or NBA finals, but he hasn't won anything. He's not a top 5 player. He's not even a top 10 player, and he's 36 years old, making $50 million this year. We'll be making it next year, and you want a contract extension, and your game doesn't dictate, and you're complaining about it when people are out here. The rising price of eggs and stuff like that.
Oh, you gonna put eggs?
You ain't throw eggs out there, did you?
But I'm not gonna lie. I mean, but again, sometimes for me, the biggest issue for me is that when you have these players who you know, saying don't play hard every game, don't play every game, and you know, and when you play, you know, you kind of lollygag, you know, you don't take the All-Star game, serious stuff like that, but you want all your money, you know, what I'm saying, but you load manage or you know, or you sit out,
Everybody low.
you know. You're not going to get the average fan. You're not going to get anybody who's got common sense to
Right.
be on your side. And if you're a national sports person and you're making excuses like a Shaq or sometimes Stephen A. Smith making excuses for him, then you know you're part of the problem as well. But I hope someone like Pat Riley, you know, stays Doug and says, no, you're going to play for us, whether you opt in or not. You're under contract. You're going to, you
Yeah.
know, you're going to play. If you don't play, we'll
I
suspend you
like
and
holding
withhold
them
your money.
accountable because I'm sick and
And so,
tired of seeing people just,
yeah,
oh, I'm ready to go. So I'm just gonna make a stink and I'm gonna go
yeah,
That's
you
how
elsewhere.
you
signed,
feel about
you signed the
that's
contract.
you
You
like
know
that's
how I
how you
feel.
feel about
Right. It's some kind of,
That's
and I know I get it. I know
Yeah, you
people
signed
say,
the
oh, they ain't
contract.
loyal to us. They'll trade us. They'll do this. They'll do that. And I think that's a society where nobody's loyal to anybody and anything. Everything is a business. Everything is this. So that's just me.
but we've seen that
People,
before.
That's the
It's not
naive
myth.
me.
those players
It's
are
not
only
myth.
loyal
It's real.
to the dollar.
Yeah. That's the naive me. One thing, and then we're gonna take a 30-second break because we got a whole lot to cover on the Super Bowl and what's going on. Cooper Cup.
Mm-hmm. Let's get it.
Talk to me about that. Why do you think LA is even considering trading him?
Because he can't stay
Hmm.
healthy,
Uh-uh.
and you're gonna try to get any type of value and draft commodity that you
Okay.
can for him.
Tanisha.
Maybe the Bill Belichick, you know, trade him 1 year early versus 1 year
You
late.
say can't stay healthy. I mean, he only been recently hurt.
He's been hurt every year since
Look,
the Super
listen.
Bowl championship.
When did he win the? When did he win the?
It's 3 years, 4 years
4 years
now.
ago.
Gosh,
Was it
time
four?
flies. It's 4 years. So that was Super Bowl
Yeah,
55.
because this is the third year. Yeah, this is the third year the Chiefs and Souls. Yeah, Chiefs haven't played
Okay.
the Rams, so yeah, 4 years,
Okay.
The next year
2021.
he was hurt.
Yep, he's been hurt
So
the
you think
last three
that's the reason? And
seasons.
then now they have Puka and some other folks. Robinson is playing well, and they can pick up somebody young, and they got some young receivers. So let him go. I don't
Yeah,
think he'll linger long if they do trade him. I
No,
don't know.
no, they gonna leave alone.
Given that though, I mean, what are they expecting to get from? Because if you're giving him up because of injuries, what would you expect to get in return from him? Given that he's injury prone, I'm not going to give you a top player that I have or wide receiver that I have that's good and healthy or whatever you may be looking for him.
I mean they
What you
might
think?
look they, they might just need a couple of draft
Could be.
picks. I mean, it could be a second and a fifth. I mean, you know, you try to do that and you try and get the contracts
Okay,
off your books.
that's where they going with
So,
it.
You
Okay,
think it's the contract?
the money, because they did after that they did
well,
offer him some money.
it's
I
the
mean,
money, but Tanisha,
like
he's
I'm
hurt.
like I'm
Tanisha,
with you. The hamstring, you know, he always got the little hamstring issue, but he
yeah,
also has some ankle issues and everything.
So starting to build up,
yeah,
compound.
And
his
then when
lower extremities, which is what he needs.
Puka comes in, but even hell, I mean, Puka been injured since he came in.
Puga's
I
on a rookie
understand that.
contract too, as a fifth round draft
Unless
pick.
you
Mm.
think
So,
Tutu Atwell about to step up and take Cooper Cup. I mean,
yeah,
maybe
well. Last year when Cooper
Marcus
Cup went
Robinson.
down, it was Tutu and Puka Nakua and Demarcus Robinson that was doing all the work.
Because Cooper was still he was playing a little bit hurt. You know, we don't.
But, yeah, hold on. You keep saying
I,
he was playing hurt. That's the problem. He's
but he
always
was out
hurt.
on the
So that's why
field
they feel like,
playing. Sometimes this is my theory on it. Sometimes you have these players that they go out there and they play hurt, and it ends up costing them. We've had this conversation a million times, Linda. All these quarterbacks that play hurt and they cost them. You want these guys to go out here because they your stud players, and they go out here and they play when you know they're not healthy, and then you want to hold them to the stats after that. Cooper was playing injured. He could have just sat down, went on IR, and got healthy. But you needed him. You felt like he was better hurt than whoever you had behind you. Now all of a sudden he's no good. I sometimes I have issues with that. I think I don't by any means. I don't think Cooper's career is over. Maybe he just needs to recoup a little bit. He was playing banged up.
Cooper need to recoup.
Cooper need to recoup. Exactly. All right, I'm off of it, but I'm just saying. But it is. I think he could get some good trade value for him right now because he wasn't hurt at the end of the season. So if you're gonna get rid of him, maybe now it's time to get rid of him.
All right, get your minds right. We're gonna take a 30-second break. We'll be right back, and we're gonna talk about Super Bowl 59. All right, everybody, welcome back. Let's get into it. We got Super Bowl 59, the Chiefs versus the Eagles. Darren, I'm gonna start with you. What are you hearing, if anything, in how you say it, Nolans? And give me your thoughts. I mean, what are the keys for each team? I know you saying the Chiefs gonna win, but if the Chiefs win, what are the key for the Chiefs to win? Excuse me, not if. And then what are the keys for Philadelphia?
I'm gonna be honest. As it relates to both teams, come down to one word: Saquon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Eagles win if Saquon has a monster day, and technically you could say if Jalen Hurts somehow has a monster day, that means the Chiefs defense is doing something wrong. So technically, in that regards, either one of those two things would have to happen to me, in my opinion, for the Eagles to win. You know, Saquon just running wild, and the Chiefs somehow, like some of the other teams in the playoffs, haven't been able to stop Saquon. That would be an issue, especially when you look at trying to put yourself in position where he's running the football
So
up
wait a
and
minute,
down the
Darren.
field.
Given that, do you think Saquon can do that on the Spags defense? Just run them up?
Okay. I don't think so, but again, every dog has his day. It's bad. Spags defense doesn't show up, like they didn't against Buffalo. A couple months ago. Now, granted, situations were different. Cold Buffalo outdoors. This is perfect. Sentiment. Perfect football conditions. Being inside in the dome and stuff like that. But if they're missing tackles, then yes, that can happen. But for the Chiefs, obviously defense, containing Saquon, but forcing Jalen to be a thrower of the football and making him beat you. Now, the Chiefs are excellent as it relates to their corners in Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson, and so I'm not saying that they're going to clamp down AJ Brown or Devontae Smith, but I do think that they keep them from having big games, and generally the Chiefs have problems this season when it comes to the tight end. So I'm interested to see how Dallas Goddard
can you go back
plays against
1 second? Do you think that Brown and Smith get enough credit? Or has it just been Saquon and Hurts this year? Saquon and Hurts. That's it.
No, I think it's been more Saquon, and deservedly so. But the problem has been because Saquon has big games that a lot of times it lessens the effect of what Jalen has done offensively because his numbers would be down where he's throwing like 130, 150 yards. So in turn, you're not getting big. It seems like you're not getting big production numbers out of your wide receivers because so much is happening on the ground, and then also if they put up big points, there are times where Jalen is getting the touchdowns, on the ground, of course, throwing the football, run the football in on the ground, and so those numbers get skewed because while they're putting up big scores, a lot of those touchdowns are coming from Jalen running the football on the ground and Saquon. If you look at the NFC Championship game, those two combined had 6 touchdowns on the ground.
The Redskins, the Commanders gave him some points too. Tanisha, jump in. We're gonna come back to you. too damn. Tanisha, what you got?
I mean, I think that on paper, to me, the Eagles look extremely dominant with, position by position. But I think we know that it's more than that when you're talking about the big game. Experience comes into play.
Coaching.
Coaching is an important factor. And I think, if I had to be honest, I think when it comes to coaching, the Chiefs have the upper hand. And we've watched Spags, and we watched him last game. I mean, I think it's pretty unanimous that he outcoached the other coach. So there's a lot more that comes to it than just that raw talent. Saquon, I'm gonna go out here and say this, and I love Barkley. I don't think Barkley beats the Chiefs. I think it has to be Jalen's arm that's going to beat the Chiefs. I think Spags has got something dialed up to hold Barkley to a half decent game. Smith has suffered hamstring injuries. I don't know how healthy he is. He played like I don't know how healthy he is, but I think it's got to come from Jalen, to be honest. I think Jalen's going to have that game to take them over the top. I don't believe it's Barkley that's going to be able to do it. You can obviously game plan for that, and when you have minds like Andy Reid and say, I don't know. It's going to be a close game, but I really kind of feel like it's got to come from the win. Is going to have to come from Jalen.
Okay, I've heard your argument before, or your position. I don't want to call it an argument. Your position before on paper. I can't say that I agree. You've got DeAndre Hopkins. You've got Hollywood Brown. You've got Patrick Mahomes. Those are three positions right there. I think you can match up. I mean, you maybe you do give it to the edge to.
No, let's do it then. You said you got.
Hold on, let me finish. Maybe you give that edge to them. Do you say that Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Patrick?
Not even if Jesus asked me.
Okay, I'm just saying. Do you say that either one of them, Hopkins, they're better than Hopkins? I know Hopkins hasn't done everything yet. DeAndre Hopkins has proven himself over the years.
I mean, he's still new to the team.
Okay,
if we were doing that, I would just
so when
say,
people make these statements,
I would say that AJ has been there a lot along with Jalen. They probably have better rapport. We haven't seen as much as we would like to see from DeAndre. Personally, for me, I think we will see a lot more DeAndre in this game.
Okay, so when you go past AJ Brown and you go past Smith, who you got? Who's your next wide receiver? Who's your next wide receiver?
Wide receiver?
Yes, from Philly. Okay, I'll come back to that.
Yeah.
When you go past wait a minute. Okay, when you go past Hollywood Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, who's your next wide receiver?
I mean, we got Juju. We got
Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, Xavier Worthy. Yeah.
I mean, so when we say on paper, I just don't understand what people say on paper.
Run game, though, it runs through the run game.
It doesn't. But we're still saying on paper, right? So then you got
Gainwell.
Say Gainwell, right, for running back.
I'm saying it runs through the run game. Their game is different. We're trying to throw the ball. We're mixing things up. They are they're on, we know what we're getting with them. It's gonna be Saquon. So
you're not the only one who's used that analogy, saying on paper they look better. I just don't agree with it, saying on paper, because I can't think of the young man's name. It's a shame it just escapes me, because I'm gonna blame it on my tooth. The running back, 27. He's 27 or 29 now. Come on, he just came back.
From who?
For the Chiefs.
You talking about Pacheco?
No.
Hunt?
Yes, Kareem Hunt. We gonna dismiss him?
No, hell no, I ain't dismissing him.
Okay.
Listen, I'm not dismissing him. And that's exactly why I said I don't think it's Saquon that's going to beat us. But A.J. Brown and Smith are a problem.
Okay.
When you have a Goddard, because Goddard's been hurt the whole.
I know he was hurt last year, but you got
not last year, this year. They brought him back for the playoffs.
Okay, so the tight ends, you got Kelsey. You got who else?
He ain't a regular tight end. He real tight end.
Who you got, Darren, for the tight ends?
But,
Gray and Kelsey
the
versus
Chiefs.
Goddard and
Yeah,
go
Chiefs.
whatever his name is, Gallup, whatever.
Chiefs. Chiefs. That's not even a question for me.
Yeah, so I just don't. And then coaching all the way across, I'm going with the Chiefs. I think I do. I believe. I hope it's a good game. I think it's a good game. I just have to give the
Well,
Chiefs.
I know it's
There's
gonna be
too
a
many
good game,
boxes that I would
but I
have to
do
check
think the Chiefs
for the
gonna win.
Chiefs to say, okay, experience, been there, whatever. The pressure that I put on the Chiefs, or the Chiefs put pressure on themselves, and I don't know if they do that because they just play. I think they like the pressure. Is this could be a three-peat? This is historic. This is something that's never been done. So is that a plus or is that too much for them? I don't know. We'll see at the end of the game. But I don't know. It's a lot to beat them.
I,
I know Philly's coming in there like, hey, they want some get back after that
yeah, of
last
course.
game. That can help you, or all of those things can help or hurt. I
Listen,
don't know.
listen. I like I said, there's something to be said for. I'll give it out. I love Mayweather. You know that. Every time that somebody fought him, it was a regular fight for him. It was the biggest day of their life. Yes, Jalen. This is Jalen's second trip here, right? This is what patting him the fourth, fifth time up in whatever it is. It's something to be said. It starts to get like I think they're gonna have a different calm. Like I think that there are moments in the game when you have to make a big play where you're nervous if you haven't been there before. I think the Chiefs have kind of mastered those big moments like that better than other teams. So I'm not going with Eagles. I said I think if you look position, I'm talking about the entire team,
Mm-hmm.
not just the few players, but the entire team. If someone goes down, who's your backup or whatever? I think Philly is a better team on paper. I'm going with the Chiefs because we got 15, we got 8, we got Kelsey, and I honestly believe that DeAndre is going to have a good day. And I love me some Kareem Hunt and Pacheco. Like I feel like they're just more experienced. They're gonna figure out a way to get it done.
Oh, and please don't misunderstand. By no means was I saying that you were going with Philly, that you were
Oh,
going
you
with
know
them.
damn well. I
No,
know.
no.
Everybody know that.
Yeah. So Darren, let me ask you a question. You've been in the locker room. You were in the locker
Yes,
room
man.
at the end of the last game. You've talked to people. Like what was your feeling? I know you had a conversation with Kelsey. It seems like to me, just from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, watching Kareem Hunt, I don't know why I could not remember his name earlier,
Love me
walking
some.
on that field and soaking it in after the game, like they're playing for each other, and it it's more than a
Right.
Super Bowl to them. It seems like I remember,
Family.
and it gives me chills when I think about it because they show it like every day. Listening
Yeah.
to that young man in the car, upset, when he had got pulled over, to say how upset he
Yeah.
was. He should be playing for a Super Bowl. So it's he ain't just playing for a Super Bowl.
But
Kelsey ain't just playing for another Super Bowl for himself. He playing for something this young man should have been a part of. Other people are playing. So what's that sense when you're in the locker room? What's that sense?
Tanisha said earlier, and Patrick, not Patrick, but Travis said it when I interviewed him. He's like a family man, and honestly, offensively, even though Pacheco has kind of started these games or whatever, Travis, to tell you, the heartbeat of that offense is Kareem, man, because it's hard to explain unless you've been there. And I'm thinking back to Patrick's rookie year. Well, actually, both of these players were rookies. They were
together,
drafted together, but but essentially Patrick's second year and Kareem's second year, where just the offense was just, oh
it was
God,
beautiful,
that
wasn't it?
it was like the
Yep.
greatest show on turf, but you just had a horrible ass defense on the other side. And but the thing is, you always fall back to what could have been. And I say that because you look at how they beat New England. In I think they beat New England in New England that season, and it could have been the next year, but the fact that they had problems trying to figure out a defense to guard Kareem because his very first game in the NFL, I think his first carry was a
It
fumble,
was.
and he never fumbled again with the Chiefs. But he ran for like 240 scrimmage yards against the Patriots in the opening game. That saying that season opener in 2017. So when I look at the AFC Championship game, there is no way that New England beats them if Kareem Hunt is still on that team. Like Kansas City would probably be going for their fifth or sixth Super Bowl title right now if Kareem is still on that team because they were able to shut down Travis Kelsey and they were able to shut down Tyreek Hill. The backup running back or the running back Damian Williams had a
They
big
did.
game, and then
Yeah.
the other wide receiver opposite of Tyreek had a good game. But he was such a difference maker where he could pass catch and run the football that was going to be a matchup nightmare for New England in that game, and it's just so seeing what took place 6 years ago and how it's come full circle. Seeing covering him since his first game with the Chiefs, and coming back to Kansas City, it means a lot to those players because yes, Travis, Patrick Autumn, they won obviously 3 rings, and players who have been here the last couple of seasons won rings, and they want to get it for and you all know how they feel about these veterans that are coming in. They want to give them a chance to play in the Super Bowl and win them a title. But it's something special about Kareem, man. I mean, I think the biggest thing is for some of those players they just have the regret of what could have been in 2018 that wasn't because of how situation how that
Yeah.
year played itself out. And now that you've got like essentially that core, Hunt, Mahomes, Kelsey,
Pacheco.
back together. Yeah, and really the only player that's missing from that
Yeah.
time is Tyreek Hill. I'm
From that
talking
core
about
that
from,
was
from
there.
the
I know
core of
Yeah.
the
what you mean.
2018
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah, where being here in this situation now, man, it's like all they can think about, man. And I talked to Kareem Monday night during the opening night, man. Is like he's going. If anybody's going to leave it out there on the field Sunday, it's going to be
Listen, you
Kareem.
know how bad I wanted Kareem on the team. I was willing that in. I was putting
Yeah,
all the subliminal messages out. I needed Kareem on this team because I've always loved that kid, and I always feel like I it was unfortunate, but I always wanted Kareem back. And the moment that he came on that team, I was like, he gonna be a game changer because everybody saw his passion out there on that highway. Everybody, and the fact that when he told his story about he just kept on practicing, and his football coach told him, won't you give Pat Mahomes a call? Won't you give him, he said it can't hurt. And next thing you know,
mm-hmm.
Andy Reid is calling him and he's playing, he's from couch to killing it. You know what I mean?
Which I never understood how that kid ever wound up on the couch. When he left Cleveland, how did he end up on the couch?
I just Cleveland
Well,
didn't know how to use.
Cleveland didn't. Yeah, they just
I
didn't
I
resign
know
him.
that, but
They
what
didn't
I'm
know how to
saying,
use him.
nobody else went and got him. Yo, let the Chiefs go get him.
I'm just glad it happened.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Can I get
happy
an
for
amen?
him. I'm happy
Can I get
for
an
him.
amen?
Let's switch a
Amen.
little bit. We talked about all the things, the key things. I think there's some things that we said about the Chiefs that also apply to the Eagles, right? So I'm not. It was the call. You can call it the call or whatever it was, and I'm not saying that anybody was playing favorites or whatever. That last play hurt Philadelphia. Philadelphia was in the mindset that they had a Super Bowl, given that last play. So I think they believe they have
What,
some get back.
the hold on Juju?
Yeah, yeah, so they feel like that's a play that changed the game. Not saying nobody's saying it was a bad call. It was just saying if that hadn't happened, they had an opportunity to win the game. What I'm saying is they also feel that camaraderie on their side. Their coach has learned from that. He said it. He's watched the film over and over. He's not going to make the same mistakes. Now he doesn't have the same defensive, offensive coordinators that he had before. They're different people. So they haven't been there, right?
Thank God.
So that's different. But the players, that sting. What do you think that sting? And I think that sting brought them a little closer together. What do y'all think about that from another side?
I
From
don't
the
know
other
how
side,
many actually left from that, but all I
quite a
remember,
few. There's quite a few there.
all I remember from that Super Bowl was it was slippery on the paint. he didn't hold, it was a lot of excuses, or what I like to call excuses, because everybody was still playing football on the same paint. So I don't know. Maybe that's what you do. You have a lot of teams, they're like, we the underdog, when you're really not the underdog. Whatever motivates you. You're right. If it's a bunch of people that remember that loss, I remember when Kittle was like, I'm gonna be back, and I'm gonna be back with a vengeance. He came back, they still lost. I mean, motivation is great, but you still got to play football. I told you what I think is going to happen. Do I think they want a revenge game? Absolutely. But also on the other side, they're chasing history. I'm not going to say that your revenge is more than me chasing history. I think probably it evens out. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. I mean, like you said, if you got enough on the squad that remember the loss, you got enough on the squad that remember the win.
Darren?
What's your question? Because I mean,
Yeah,
because
she
Tanisha
did.
was
She,
preaching the
you
Can
word
I get
know,
just
an
then.
amen?
I was talking about the camaraderie of that
Amen.
team or
Well,
whatever,
I
what it's
just
going to do
said.
for them, and what it's going to do as
Oh,
far as
that's what you're going
coaching
to do?
lessons and stuff that they learn, and how it could benefit them.
Yeah. So
Because their eyes were big the
so
last time. It was the
to
first
me
time there
the
for a lot of them.
yeah to me the biggest difference is the fact that, and people try to make it a negative. I look at it as a positive. Is these one scoring games the Chiefs have won? I think they won like 17 or 18 in a row now. The thing is that, and I was talking to Rob Parker, who I'm speaking with after we get through with this show, is that when you're in those tight ball games, the Chiefs as a team and collective players throughout this 3 year run, including the new ones that have been there, they've been in so many different situations that they're not going to me, they're not going to be in a situation come Sunday that they haven't already been in or found themselves in. And whatever situation they find themselves in, they figured out a way to come out on top of it. And so, unless somehow the Eagles run off 21 straight points or something to that effect, if it's a one score type ball game or even Kansas City's up leading by a score, if it's in the fourth quarter and it's a close ball game, there is enough of a track record that Kansas City can possibly pull it out
Okay.
versus the
Now I'm going to
Eagles.
ask my question again, and maybe I'll get a response. Do you think there will be any difference because Philadelphia has been there before? I'm not saying winning the game. I'm talking about the playing of the game. Winning the game, the players have been there before. They have a camaraderie on their team. They're thinking about what happened. They feel all that also. Do you think any of that will play into there to help them out? Not saying they win a game, but to make it a better game.
Let me do it real quick. Let's see. So I'm gonna say no, only because some of the skill players have been there. Obviously, the tight end, the wide receivers, and the quarterback. However, Saquon's
Hmm.
never been in a situation. Some of the linemen have been in a situation, and a lot of defensive players have been in that situation because they weren't there 2 years ago. Now, um, the players that they have. Well, I guess you say. Well, yeah. So the players that were here this year and last year were not there 2 years ago. I.e., now those Georgia boys, because I think they got like maybe 4 or 5 of them on the Eagles defensive team. They played obviously at the highest level in a national title game for Georgia, but that ain't the Super
Understand?
Bowl. You ain't had to sit in the locker room for 40 minutes
Right.
for halftime. You know what I'm saying? Where you got to get your body stuff work back up. And so, you know, this there's different levels to this type of stages. So while they do have they do have a few players that were there in 2 years ago, not as many as Kansas City. And so I just think that experience matters.
So you think
That
that
to me that
outshadows
experience
what
will
they
matter.
may be feeling as far as a camaraderie and what they
Correct.
felt
What
and
I
what they
said
went through
earlier.
and what they all that other stuff. That was my question. Yeah,
Yes,
y'all
ma'am.
went
Yeah,
on what the
Yeah.
Chiefs are gonna do. I'm
Yes.
asking you about the Philadelphia
I
Eagles.
said
Right.
Well, no, no,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
I
you
just told
answered
you
it the
about
it
second
Philly.
time.
wasn't the
The first time
revenge.
you didn't. Huh?
what I was saying is even though I went on the whole tirade, what I was saying is that I get they have a revenge factor, but you got a win factor on the other
I wasn't
side.
just talking about a revenge factor. I was saying their mindsets going into this game, going into that first game, they had no idea. Some of them had no idea. Some of them had been there before because they won a Super Bowl. You had a lot of young people who had never won. You made a perfect point. We know damn well Saquon ain't been in no Super Bowl. We know what he been dealing with. So this is a whole lot. The one playoff game that he went to, that was it. You know, when they beat the Vikings. So this is a lot. This is different. The run, and I think he's well aware of that because you've seen him on the games that he's played. He's like quiet, quiet, quiet till the game is over. And I think he's gonna be very quiet. He could score 6 touchdowns. He's gonna be quiet until the game's over. You know what I'm saying? So it's different. It's a different mindset over there. And that's what I was saying. That was my question. What do you think they're thinking? The ones that have been there. What are they telling those that have not been there? This is what to expect. That's what to expect. Whereas the Chiefs don't have to say that because everybody's been there, or at least a majority of them have been there. And you have a coach who's been there multiple times. So that's the differences on those sides. That's where I was trying to get at. What is the mindset?
Well, but also outside Nixon, I mean, neither one of those. I think Nick Fangio, well, he was there a couple years ago, but Kellen Moore has never been in that situation.
I mean,
So
surprised Kellen Moore is in that situation. So yeah, that's
I know,
that's
right? Yeah,
so
right.
okay. So let's go around. Darren, give me a score.
I got the Chiefs winning
Okay.
35-31.
Tanisha.
And Patrick will be the MVP because
All right.
that's just a storyline.
Tanisha.
38-35.
38-35.
Chiefs. Close game. Field goal.
Now, Tanisha, now you know Saturday night. You and
Field
I
goal.
got to get on that,
It's
get
they're
on the
gonna win
horn.
by field goal.
I got 31-28.
It's gonna be that close.
Okay.
I think all our scores are close.
Yeah.
I
We're
think Max
talking
got 4
field
points
goal.
in there, but
It's gonna be sick. Buck is
Okay.
gonna hurt some hearts.
Okay.
He did that a couple years ago too.
All right. Before we close out the show, the last couple of shows we haven't had a chance to get to it because we've been talking, and I'm gonna use this. This is not a Chiefs show, of course, but this is just appropriate that I'm gonna bring this up. Something I watched. I was going through with my two, so I just sitting there watching anything, and a friend of mine at work told me I actually. And this is probably closer to you. If Tanisha, if you haven't watched it, check it out because it's crazy. Is I don't know what. I watched the documentary Chiefsaholic on
Oh
Netflix.
Lord, I saw that.
I didn't. I haven't seen it.
No, it wasn't Netflix. It was
I haven't
Amazon
seen
Was it? I
Prime.
thought it was Netflix. Okay, you
No, it
sure?
was Prime.
Double check it.
Prime. I'm positive because Prime did the
Okay.
document.
I'm saying double check it.
I don't need to. I saw it.
Okay.
It was Prime.
Okay.
Regardless of where it was, have you watched? You watched it. What'd you think?
I saw it the first day. I think it came out day before Christmas. It was interesting. I mean, I actually, Steve and I met him. I want to say it was the Tampa Bay game. We were all in the airport, and he talked about a bet that he had put down. It was like $1,000 bet or something for Jody Fortson to score a touchdown, and it was like 18-1, and you know he caught a touchdown that Sunday night game, and he was $18,000 richer. It's like, oh, it's like, man, I wish, me and Steve talked about how we wish we could have, we would have put some money down on that bet, but long shot is what it is. But it was sad, to see how, obviously he put himself in a situation. But I'm thinking when I say sad, more so of his family situation. They never really said whether or not he was able to cash out his bets because I think he won like 100,000 with the Chiefs win the Super Bowl and Patrick won an MVP. So I don't know whether or not he ever was able to cash out and give the money to his family. Well, it didn't
It
really
appear though
like
because his mom was still
get
living in the
that
car.
deep in the car. Yeah, but oh God, it's a doggone bird in here.
What happened?
It's a bird in the convention center.
Hey, put a little bit more bass in your voice when you say that, Darren. That's pitiful. Yeah, we live.
I'm just saying
we,
it
we
was.
streaming right now.
Yeah, well, it came out of nowhere, but yeah. So I mean, it surprised me to say the least that his situation, and but I would have thought that he again the way it made it seem like he was able to cash out because I thought they were going to try to withhold the money, and I don't know whether or not they technically could have because whether he won it with stolen money or not. I mean, it was a legal bet that that he was and for all I know, it might still be sitting in FanDuel's account or something, in his FanDuel account. So, yeah,
It's a
it's a
sad, yeah, it was a
sad
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 story. I
state of
mean,
affairs.
sad for the family, sad for his mom, them living in, cars or whatever. He seemed to be very obsessed. There were people, Shaggy was on there. Shaggy was one of the people on there. I actually called Shaggy or text him afterwards. Was like, wow, because I remember seeing this guy. And then I remember the story of saying that he had robbed it, and everybody's like, nah, it wasn't him, it wasn't him. And yeah, just was he robbing him to go see the Chiefs? Was he that obsessed? I don't know. He was a little, yeah, he was a little obsessed. He was off. It's a one episode.
Check it out.
Yeah, it's a one
Right.
episode quick watch. Check it out. Um,
It ain't quick. It's
yeah, it's
definitely
2 hours.
2 hours.
But given what's getting ready to go on, I just thought that one was appropriate. There's other stuff that we'll talk about and bring up. I just hope that yeah, I hope he gets the help he needs. I hope that family gets the help he needs. Hate to see anybody that has to live in their car. Um Closing thoughts. Let's give everybody a minute or two to get their closing thoughts. There we go, start with you.
Well, I will say this. I feel very blessed and fortunate to be able to come down here and do Radio Row and cover another Super Bowl. I tell people the story that growing up, I've been doing this covering my first Chiefs game when I was 15 years old. And, being in the radio business, I had always, wanted to apply and come down and cover Super Bowl stuff like that, and never got a chance to do so until the Chiefs drafted Patrick Mahomes. And people say, "Oh, Darren, you're a homer." I'm actually not a homer. I'm not a Chiefs fan. I am a fan of the players because I wish them, I root for them. I wish them well, and their success, is for me a success for me. And so I have no problem telling anybody, look, I love me some Patrick Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes is the reason why I've been able to cover the last 6, 7 Super Bowls, and hopefully, as long as he's healthy and and of sound mind and sound body, I'll cover about 10 more of these, thanks to his his talent and stuff like that. So, um, I wish one of these times you ladies would be able to join me down here on Radio Rose soon enough, and we can I can have you all experience this stuff with me because sometimes doing it by yourself I get burnt out. Cause it is a lot of work. It does stress you out a lot because people will try to pull your time and just pull you in every which direction. Whether wish I could have other people here that could help do interviews and stuff like that while I run off and do a press conference and stuff like that. So it would be cool to
We're gonna
have
work on
some
it, Darren.
have some
We
people
definitely
down
definitely
here.
gonna work on it.
Yeah.
This year was
So
just a rough year all the way around. When I say year, not just
yeah.
January, but leading up to this was a little challenging for the both of us. But I'm happy you're living your dream, and it's always fun to see you there. And we'll hear the stories after the Super Bowl too. Tanisha, what you got?
So, in the spirit of Black History Month, I am super excited because I watched one of the best fights I've seen in a long time. I watched Clarissa Shields go out there and battle and have an amazing fight. And I think, sometimes women boxing doesn't get uplifted like it should be, but that woman is the face of boxing. She went out there and put on one of the best performances that's been seen in a long time. So I'm uplifting her. I love what you're doing. Keep doing it. I'm a major fan, and of course, let's not forget we have two African American quarterbacks battling for the Super Bowl coming up here on Sunday for the second time against each other for the second time, and I want to not let that be unnoticed because that's we're still kind of in rare area, it's still new. So I definitely I'm excited about that, but that's where I'm at with that. It's Black History Month. I'm trying to show some love to my people.
All right, thank you. And for me, folks, it's a lot going on. January has seemed like a year. Keep your heads up. Stay
prayerful.
definitely stay prayerful. Look out for your friends, check on your friends, check on your loved ones. Stay alert, stay alive. A lot going on. Keep your head on the swivel. And like Darren said, stay prayerful, keep the faith, and we'll get through all of this. Whatever side you're on.
Yeah, because we
We'll,
got an uninvited guest on Sunday.
yeah, we'll get through all of this, and please remember, even though we have all these things going on, do your part. Please be kind and be blessed. And as always, until next time, peace. Thank you for tuning in to Two Gems and a Mic. Be sure to subscribe and follow. Until next time, remember, be kind, be blessed. Peace.